Alright, I'm back for video 2. I think it looks like it's only going to let me go like 59 minutes, and I don't know why. I don't know. I need to get an actual camera. I keep using my phone for this. So, let's get started though. Alright, so the last thing we did was top stitch across the top of the pocket, which was step number 25 was finished. So we are on step 26. We're going to place the exterior bottom panel with fleece interfacing, which is not that one. So it's a good thing I didn't sew that. Right side up. I'm going to finger press this in half and mark my centers now. That's how I always mark the center, just by finger pressing. And then your pocket. Let's see if I still have my center marks on the back. Not really. I'll finger press that too, to have the center marks. And we want to place this pocket 1.5 inches down from the top and centered. So 1.5. You can draw a line if you choose. I usually I have this short ruler and I lay it on top, and then I'll line this up, the pocket up with the line, and make sure it's centered. And I'm going to want to use pins for this. Who knows where they are? Okay, here's some pins. I have this little container of pins that goes in the drawer where I keep my hardware, and I definitely spilled this all over the floor a couple days ago, so that was fun to pick up. My husband actually grabbed a big big magnet off the fridge that we have that's like the kids' lunch menu for school, and he came to my rescue with that. So you have your center marks that you made on there. You want to make sure that those are matched up with the center marks on the panel. The pocket and the bottom main panel center marks are matched up. And that you're 1.5 inches down from the top. So what I'm going to do is pin that in place just in a couple spots, and then snap this pocket flap in place. Oh, come on. Okay. And just make sure that everything lines up, so that you know you have it placed right before you sew it down. So, and it looks good. The zipper should be even with the top raw edge of the bottom main panel. So unsnap your flap and just pin this pocket all the way around. I haven't used vinyl. If you use vinyl for anything, I mean, I have used vinyl, but not on this bag. But just, you know, you can't pin vinyl, so keep that in mind. But this might be a little thick. I might have to try it, because it would look nice, like, I don't know, it would look nice with a vinyl pocket or leather. Ooh, a leather pocket on waxed canvas would look really nice. Okay, so I just pinned that in place, and now I'm going to top stitch around this pocket to sew it on. Make sure you back stitch a couple times at the tops. Just because this, you know, the top edge of pockets take a lot of, I don't know what the word is I want. Either way, reinforce it. And I just kind of, like, while I'm doing this part, I press those darts pretty flat. And then once I get the pocket finished, or, you know, the whole bag actually finished, I'll stuff something down in the pocket, fabric or whatever, and then press it with that in it so that the darts are out. so that they're not pressed flat. I have like a little extra of my lining showing here, and I don't want it like that. So any adjustments you make, just make sure you have your needle down. Darn it. Apparently I didn't roll that edge very well while I was ironing it. Happens, just watch as you go. Maybe some of the green is going to poke out down there because I'm about to leave it. The only bad part right here is that I can't bring my iron to the sewing machine. Alright, I just got my fingers wet a little bit with a spray bottle so I can roll that seam out. Sometimes moisture helps. Alright, that's better. And then when I'm done, I can press over that and it'll dry it. And you're sewing over the pleats here, so make sure that everything's lined up nicely. It can get a little thick right along those seams, but it shouldn't be a problem. Well, it looks like I'm going to have some of that green lining poking out at the bottom anyway, so whatever. I guess if you don't want that, you could line your pocket with the same color. So the contrast exterior fabric, you could cut your pocket lining out of that as well. And do one more line of. I should know better, I guess. Or I should have ironed it better. That's what happens when I have time restraints. Okay. So that part looks a little funny, but it's going to be that way and I don't care. And this is for me, so I definitely don't care. Take all the pins out. Snap the flap back in place. Make sure it's covering the top edges of the pocket. And then clip this into place. Make sure it's all straight. And clip this with, baste it together with a 1/4 inch or smaller seam allowance. Probably make it smaller because the next step will be a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And here also, if you use a 1.25 inch wide zipper tape, which is like a number 5 zipper, then the top of your zipper will be hanging 1/8 of an inch off the top of your bottom main panel. The top of the zipper tabs would be even with the top of this bottom main panel, but the zipper tape itself will extend past that by 1/8 of an inch. So don't forget that part, and that's only if you used a 1 1/4 inch wide zipper. So now we need the top main panel with fleece attached, and you will put this right sides together with the flap sandwich in between, and you want the side that has the 1/4 inch gap of the fleece, so the bottom edge, to be matched up with the top edge of the bottom main panel. And we will clip those together and then sew that together using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And when you sew this, don't forget that the zipper pull is down in there, so you're going to want to pull that out of the way as you go. I'm getting too much stuff over here. Okay. So, change my stitch length. I'm going to pull that zipper down a little bit right now, so it's out of my way. And 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay. And here's actually where I'm going to want to change my thread. I was using purple for on the pocket, but I want to use black for the rest of it, so. Now we are going to press the top main panel up away from the bottom main panel, and the seam allowance will be up towards the top main panel. So up like this. So I'm going to press that, and I'm going to change out to my black thread, and I will be right back. All right, I also just turned my light on, so hopefully that still shows up okay, but it's almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon and mid-November, so of course it's about to get dark out pretty soon. So I pressed that top panel up, and now I'm going to top stitch through the top panel and through that seam allowance that's behind there at a 1/8 inch seam allowance from that seam above the zipper. And I also changed out to my black thread, so. All right. Okay, so once we top stitch that, we are, that was the end of step 29. So we're on page 9. It's not too bad. About halfway through, I guess. So that's my favorite part of this bag, is the front pocket. I love this zipper pocket in the flap, and that you have no like raw edges or anything, not even of the zipper tape inside there. So just such a nice pocket. All right, so we are now going to step 30. We're going to install a magnetic snap on the back panel and on a lining bottom main panel. So let's see, there's a lining bottom main panel. My back panel has the foam attached, or fleece, I'm sorry. And we need a snap. I probably have the most or least well prepared videos that are available. Here are, I don't need a foam or a fleece scrap for this panel since it already has fleece on it. But I will need the other interfacing to put over the back of it. So cut those squares. All right. So first things first, we are going to use the pattern pieces to mark the snap placement. So I always finger press first. And now make sure if your pattern pieces have this trimmed, it's not going to line up with the top or bottom. It will be 1/2 inch from each spot. That snap is, maybe I should measure how far down that is and put that on the pattern piece. Let's see. The snap is 2.5 inches down from the top and centered on the back panel. So I'll mark my center of my snap placement, and again I already have fusible fleece attached to this, so we don't need to fuse a square of fleece on the back. I will line my washer up, the center of my washer, with that dot, and okay, seam ripper to cut along those slits. So we're just repeating the same process that we did before. I'm going to put the female snap on the back main panel. Obviously I didn't cut all the way through the fleece. All right. Place a washer over that and press the prongs open and flat. All right, and now I'm going to fuse a square of interfacing over that, and I'm also going to install the female half of my washer on a lining bottom panel. Okay, we have the snap installed on both the back panel and a lining bottom main panel. So that takes us through step 30. Step 31, we're going to place the remaining exterior bottom main panel right sides together with the lining bottom main panel that has the snap in it, and match all edges. And then we're going to clip together the top straight edge. Okay, and we will sew that together using a 1/2 inch seam allowance, only along the top straight edge. Now I'm going to trim that seam allowance down, which, I mean, really it's a straight edge, so if you left it in there, it won't matter, but and now I'm going to flip these wrong sides together and press that top seam. I need to make some type of a smaller pressing board that I can keep over near my sewing machine and film that part as well. So that is pressed. And now I'm going to top stitch along this top seam. For my top stitching, I always use a 1/8 inch seam allowance, unless it's a special circumstance, or sometimes I'll do, you know, along the top of a pocket or something, I'll do 1/8 of an inch and then also 1/4 of an inch below that. Okay. Now once we have that top stitched, we will attach the magnetic snaps and line this up, match all the raw edges, and now we're going to baste this slip pocket onto the back panel. And we'll use a 1/4 inch seam allowance so that the stitches won't be visible on the finished bag. So we're going to set that aside for now, and then we are going to do the interior zipper pocket. So on one interior zipper pocket panel, we're going to draw a 7-inch line that is 1 inch down from the top. So first I'm going to finger press my center, and using my ruler, make sure your 7-inch line is centered and 1 inch down from the top. And then 1 inch down from that, we will draw another 7-inch line. And then at the end, we'll draw 2 short lines to connect the rectangle. Okay, and that will be our, where we sew around, the box we sew around to put our zipper in. So now with one of our lining bottom panels, we will, let's see, 1 inch down. I'm going to finger press again. It always keeps everything centered. And right sides together, match up those center crease lines, and you want 1 inch down from the top. Line that up like so, and then pin the zip, or pin the zipper pocket panel in place. We are going to sew all the way around that rectangle. I usually use a shorter stitch length for this, 2 to 2.5. Make sure you come down right in the corner of the rectangle that you drew. And then back along the other lines. So we're just sewing directly along the lines of the rectangle. Sometimes you might have to readjust to make sure you stop right in the corners. All right, and then make sure you backstitch this well. Okay, we'll remove these pins. And now, right down the center of this rectangle that we sewed, we are going to draw a line that stops 1/2 inch from each end. And then from the end of that center line, we'll draw a line out to each of the 4 corners. And then what we want to do is cut directly along that line. But just be careful to not cut through the stitching in the corners. So now what we do is we'll pull the entire pocket panel through that hole and press it all flat so that we just have a rectangle hole in our bottom main panel with the lining pressed to the wrong side, or the wrong sides together. So I'm going to pause the video and press this nice and flat, and I'll show you when I get back. Okay, we are on step 38 now. So I have the lining pressed to the wrong side of the bottom main panel, the zipper pocket lining. I keep saying just the lining. And then press the wrong sides together through the rectangle opening that we sewed. So just make sure you really work that to get it pressed nice and flat. Then you need to install the zipper into that opening. So again, my zipper's too long because all my zippers are too long. But here is how I do my zippers in this type of pocket. So I take a glue stick, and this is just a regular Elmer's washable glue stick. Nothing special. And it dries clear, even though it's purple right now. I just put that all along the top edge and the bottom edge of the interior side of the zipper pocket. And it doesn't hold long term, but it holds it long enough. And line my zipper up in there as best I can. And then I'm going to flip it over and make sure it's centered well. It seems to be pretty well. And just press it down flat. Sometimes I'll take like my ruler to just press it down really well all the way along the length of the zipper. And then carefully, I mean, it will peel off, but it holds it on good enough to sew around it. Because I always had a hard time like pinning zippers. So I'm like, what can I do? And then I tried gluing it, you know, with fabric glue. Fabri-Tac is what I used, and it was just a sloppy mess. And then I'm like, oh, I wonder how these glue sticks would work. Somebody talked about using glue sticks to like hem a dress or something, and just use the glue stick around the bottom edge, you know, and then fold it up as you go. And I'm like, I wonder if that would work for this. And it's washable, so it'll come out. So what can I lose for trying? I am back to a stitch length of 4. And now I'm just going to top stitch all the way around this rectangle to hold the zipper in place. Just be careful there where you're sewing over the zipper. Nylon coil zippers should not be a problem to sew over. And I definitely feel like I should have changed out to green thread for this, but I didn't. Okay. Kind of a chunk of glue in there. I mean, that'll just come off though once it's dry. You'll be able to flake it right off. But like I said, it's washable, so you could wipe it with a wet cloth also. Alright. And then since the zipper was longer than I needed, I just trim the ends off so that it will be caught in the seam allowance when you sew the pocket panels together. So that you don't have the raw end of the zipper exposed inside of your pocket. So now what we're going to do, here's my other interior zipper pocket panel. I'm going to fold the bottom raw edges of each of these 1/2 an inch to the wrong side. So I'll do it with this facing up, and then fold that, and then also fold the bottom of this and press them both. You do that quick. Alright, now we want to line this up to make sure that both of the bottom folded edges are matching, and clip those 2 pocket panels together. And we're going to leave the bottom open, so that bottom sewn part, we will leave that unsewn right now. We sew that at the very end. So just pin or clip all the way around these 2 pocket panels and pull the bottom main panel out of your way as you go. And I think after this, let's see. Yeah, we're currently on step 40. So I think after this, I'm going to stop this video, and then we'll start video 3 a little later because I'll have to get dinner ready soon. So, all right. Now I have the bottom main panel facing up, and I fold that out of the way, and I just sew these 2 zipper pocket panels together at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And you just start at the one bottom corner and sew up that side. To the top. Turn, sew along the top. turn and go back down that side. And just leave that bottom edge open. Do not sew across the bottom folded edge. Alright, and then I just trim this down to about 1/4 inch. And just be careful that you don't cut through your bottom main panel on accident. All right. So we will start the next video on step 42. And then we'll work on getting the rest of the bag together. So there is the completed lining zipper pocket. And we have also the exterior back panel that has the slip pocket, and the exterior front panel that has the pleated pocket, cargo pocket, I guess that would be, with a pocket in the flap. So pockets everywhere in this bag. You could also, if you chose to, add, you know, another slip pocket onto the other lining bottom main panel, which I don't do just because I won't use it. So yeah. All right, we'll start the next video on step 42.